Scott Perry, the congressman from the 10th Congressional District, and it will remain so for the next 2 years. Good morning, Congressman. How are you?
Hey, Gary. Good morning. Great to talk to you. Great.
Well,
morning.
Congratulations to you. We just have a short time with you. Just went out on the road running around again, but hard-fought campaign. Your thoughts on winning again in your fifth term now? You're heading back to Congress.
Well, look, it's very humbling and gratifying. We did have a hard-fought campaign, but I got to tell you, the folks that I met on the way, the folks that would stop me in the store, a lot of people whispered to me. They would just say, "You keep going." People don't want to. I hate to say it this way in America, but they don't want to, have people around them see who they support because they're afraid of what that will mean. But people that will give you the thumbs up in a restaurant, a waitress or a waiter, and they don't say anything else. They just give you the thumbs up as they walk by. We are fighting for the heart and soul of our nation. There's this huge battle that's going on, that's raging, that Gary, and I take some pride in standing out front and taking the arrows and standing on point, because I think that's what's required of leaders. And I think that even the people that disagree with me, and there are plenty, but they respect that I will talk to them, I will sit down and listen to them, and I'll explain my positions. We're never all going to agree on everything, but they need to know that I'm engaged and I care about what happens to them, their country, their community, and their families, and I'm working every day hard to make sure that they get the best representation in Washington, D.C., and it's just so gratifying.
I think it's incumbent upon the next group of people who have been, who are representing this, be it the president or congressmen or senators, that they start to somehow bring together the people of the urban areas and the rural countryside. Obviously, here in Pennsylvania, we can see it. We can see it all across the country. The urban areas where many of the people live, and the popular vote is certainly huge there, see a different America than a lot of people in the rural areas and even in the suburban areas see. What can you do in terms of starting to reconcile some of that and starting to bring that together and starting to get people to see one vision of America instead of this multi-vision of America? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, of course it does. I think the first thing to do, Gary, is to be present. You can't, it's easy to say whatever you want to say or shout kind of into the area, but you got to go walk the area, be with their families, and be present with them and hear their concerns. And I think that's number one. Number two, we got to be sharing the same information. We got a situation now, a circumstance where people one place hear one thing and people at another place hear a completely different thing. That's not working well. That's very corrosive to our society. We have got to get that reconciled, whether that's social media, whether that's, I hate to say it, big media, corporate media, some of our print media. There's two different information streams here, and they're very different, and I think it's very problematic. We have got to reconcile that.
I think we also have to get away from this idea that we cancel somebody out because they disagree. We talked a lot about the quiet voter who was waiting for November 3rd. If I look at the in-person voting that day for you, 58,739 to 22,624 for Eugene. And that tells me that an awful lot of people were sitting around quietly waiting for Election Day, and they showed up en masse around the country as well as right here in the 10th Congressional. 30 seconds, final thoughts.
Well, listen, we have got to find some way to come together. We have got to find a way to agree on some very common core things like that. America is great. It's not perfect, but it's great, and we love our country, and we're each going to do our best to serve our country in our own way, in our families, in our communities, and in our businesses. And we have to have that in common to move forward together, even though we're going to have disagreements on maybe the way to do it or some other points along the way. But that has to be a fundamental belief of everybody in our community.
Couldn't agree with you more. Congressman, congratulations. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. We look forward to talking to you monthly here and maybe even between every now and then in coming 2 years. And good luck in helping to bring America back together again. We appreciate all you're doing.
Absolutely, Gary. You have a wonderful and safe day. God bless you.
You too. Take care. Congressman Scott Perry with us here on WSBA. He has 2 more years coming in the Congress, his 5th term.